Alright, we've got a 2025 300 XCW. We're going to be installing the Enduro Engineering rear rotor guard. We'll see how it goes. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off the axle. We're going to remove the chain so we can get this caliper off. This axle bolt's going to be a 30mm. Should just come right off. Alright, next thing we're going to do, we're going to pull off this chain. And I just take these off by tapping it with a screwdriver. And hopefully it doesn't go flying like it just did. Now trying to get the master link off is kind of a pain. I'm just going to work it back and forth with a screwdriver. If you got a better way to take these things off, leave it in the comments. There it goes. Now be careful because we got O-rings right behind these. Just gonna pop this guy out. There's gonna be O-rings on this side too. Make sure they stay on there. And we just pop this chain right off. All right. Once you got the chain and the bolt off, all you gotta do is just smack on the axle bolt. Pull it out from the other side. And the wheel should pop right out. Now when you do this, don't lose your bike. Alright, we got the caliper and bracket off, we got the wheel off. We're going to pull off these pads. You got a clip right here. Pull that thing straight up. Get another clip right here. We're going to pull that straight up. We're going to push this pin out. And we're going to pop these little pads out. We got this clip that just fell out too. As soon as we get the pads out, should be able to pull this caliper right off the bracket. Got a boot right here that's kind of held up. Just use a screwdriver to just kind of lift that boot off. There we go. All right, so when you get the bracket off, you need to pull out this push pin or pin. And we're going to need to install it into the new bracket right there. Alright, so when you get the old pin removed, there's some thread locker on the threads you're going to want to clean off. Then we're going to put some fresh stuff on it and tighten it back onto our new bracket. Alright, so we got our threads cleaned up. We got some new thread lock applied. I probably put on too much. You don't need that much. Then we're just going to screw it in on right here. And we're going to get it tight. Doesn't need to be super tight, but just want to snug it down. Don't forget to reinstall this piece of hardware onto the caliper. Should just pop right back in there. There we go. Alright, now that we got our pin installed and our hardware all moved over, and then our boots installed, grease up the pins with any caliper grease. We're going to pop the bracket back on. Make sure the boot seat. Then we're gonna pop the bracket onto the swing arm. And now we gotta put the pads in. Want to make sure the pads are spread out so that the rotor can slide in there nice. Then we're ready to put on the wheel. All right, we're going to install the axle. Make sure there's a light film of grease. Really doesn't take that much. Slide it in. Make sure the axle blocks are oriented the way they came out. All right, so now we're going to install the chain. Bring that up. We're going to clean this off. And then this is an O-ring chain, so don't forget the O-rings. Make sure there's an O-ring on each one of these right here. Just gonna clean these off. Try not to let any dirt get in there. All right. And then before you put on the rest of it, make sure there's an O-ring on each one of these. And then if there's letters on there, I like to have them on the outside. All right, so squeezing the O-ring together, trying to get the clip on there can be a huge pain. So what I like to do is to put a socket in there and a C-clamp and squeeze it together. Now we got some squeezed together. They stay that way. And we've got our clip. And make sure it's oriented that way so when the tire is going, it won't get snagged right here on a stick or something. All right, so on this bike, the spec for the chain tension is going to be in the airbox cover. Just pop the cover off, and right there is going to be a sticker. The minimum is 58 millimeters and the max is 61. So anywhere between 58 and 61 of space between the chain and the back of the chain slider. All right, so we're going to use a 10 millimeter and a 13. We'll loosen that guy. And then we're going to twist this bolt out until we get the tension we want right here. All right, so when we tighten down the axle nut, we're going to want to jam something in here and move it back so that the axle is tight with the bolt. And Motion Pro makes a tool, sprocket jammer. That's pretty cool. Or a rag works. Just stick something in here, jam it up, and then as you're jamming it up, tighten down the axle nut. All right, this axle bolt is going to be torqued to 80 Newton meters. Perfect. All right, so we got the brake rotor guard all buttoned up, everything's tightened down. Super solid, super well built, really nice piece. And the fins are replaceable, so if you beat it up, you can just pop the fin out, and I think they're like 25 bucks on Enduro Engineering's website, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, super happy with it. So next we got the front rotor guard. On the front I went with the Acerbis, just a plastic guard. This one's gonna be a lot easier than the rear. It's literally one bolt. So let's get into it. All right, so we got a 17 millimeter axle nut right there. Just gonna pop that guy off. All right, so the center just goes right over this axle bolt. And then you got this little protrusion right there, and that's gonna go against the caliper right here. It's just gonna twist it up right there. And we're just gonna screw this guy right back in. There we go. And as you're tightening it down, you want to kind of hold it down so that it doesn't come up against your fork right there. Kind of get it snugged up there. All right, as soon as you got it where you want it, kind of got it snugged down, we're going to torque this bolt to 35 Newton meters. It's a pretty solid guard. Covers up your lower caliper right there, covers the whole rotor. I mean, if you smash into something, it'll break, but it'll keep a lot of stuff out. So, pretty solid guard.